I think this is just a lack of skill and player base. This is just a change to allow players who use no brain to be able to do dreams. Alright, we have a Devblog on the Infinite Dreams Part 1. This is for the September update that will happen for update 3.3, September 2025. We're gonna go all over the changes that they've mentioned in this Devblog. I already went through them like really quickly to go and see what happened, but yeah, let's see. So yeah, just like breeding, there's gonna be an Infinite Dreams a full revamp basically. They want to get as much feedback as possible, so we're gonna go in a full rant after this, and we'll get back to you later with this. Okay, they're gonna do a finalized version. So basically, if we don't give negative feedback, this is what we're gonna get. That's basically it. Well, we already know what Infinite Dreams is, but for those of you who don't know, basically Infinite Dreams is endgame PVM. It is every room that you do, every floor that you do gets harder and harder. And it starts out at level 200, which is floor 200. And then it goes up to 201, 202, all the way up into floor 400, basically. Between floor 200 and 400, you're getting Dream Chest as a reward. And those are rewarding with legendary items, Dream Resources, Astral Runes, and so on. Pet Legends as well. The thing is, right, and this is the infinite part that we'll go into it, but they're gonna remove that. I can already say, after floor 400, you don't get chests anymore. So there's no Kamas gain if you go past floor 400. But basically it goes on infinite. Like you get, the only really reward that you get from it are the ornaments. So we got Dreams Ornament 1 to 13. To get Ornament 13, you need to reach floor 2000. So you gotta go from 200 to 2000, which is a real challenge, and it takes months and months and months. For me, I personally started this run like 2 years ago, so for me it takes like over 2 years. Of course, I did other stuff in the meantime, but regardless, it takes a long time. But even after floor 2000, it just doesn't end. It's literally infinite. There's one player, Kiwi, I think he is like floor 4400 or something like that. The scaling is insane. Bosses have like 1.5 million HP. I think he himself has like 100,000. Like it's crazy. But it's fun. It's a challenge. You get random bosses, random mobs. And like I said, the main thing is it's a challenge. Now, they stated some shortcomings of the Infinite Dreams. And we're gonna go into this. So the Infinite part, it's a long approach that offers few rewards. I don't care. We don't care. People who do high dreams, they do this for the challenge. We do it because it's endgame PVM content. We don't care too much about the rewards for it. Obviously, you have the ornaments, but other than that, you get nothing. But it's not always about the rewards. It's about the challenge of endgame PVM content that you don't have without dreams. I can go to a dungeon and do that dungeon, and it just doesn't feel rewarding to me. So the lack of diversity and balance in the bazaar rewards. Now I do agree with that. So if we go and open the bazaar, so this is what we have right now. Don't mind the fact that room 2 is locked. Maybe I died a couple times there today. But yeah, so this is the bazaar over here on the left side. It is usually has 4 things. One of them is Astral Storm. It basically changes the challenges and the starting positions of the room. And the other options are like boss adds, buffs, and modifiers or redistribution to change the bosses that you have. You can also see here what the next floors are. The thing is, with the buffs, you can only get stats, power, vitality. That's it. You can't buff yourself crits, you can't buff final damage, you can't buff flat damage, pushback damage, or anything. You can't do that. So yeah, I do agree with this one, the lack of diversity. Which they could just change. Instead of fully revamping dreams, they could just change the bazaar, basically. The rewards that you get. They could change the scaling, but they didn't. The system of saves on each floor, which are numerous and specific. Like, what do you mean? Why? I know where they are going with this. It basically means if you are on this floor, then you're good. You can, I don't know. Yeah, Neverland. That's what I mean. They could just add stuff like that. Like they could add like a buff where all your shields are doubled. So like, if you buy the buff, your shields are doubled. For example, this would bring the Mazik back in High Dreams. Some dungeon keepers are monsters that have too little impact due to the lack of absence of mechanics or insufficient scaling. I wouldn't mind like some bosses. They could be easy. Not everything has to be insanely difficult. I do agree there are some bosses like Jellies, Royal Gobble, Cockroach, Sunflower. They literally are, they are bots. They don't do much. I do agree with this part. But then again, then you have some insanely difficult bosses that you really, they compensate for that. This is also why you add bosses. You fight 2 bosses instead of 1. Too many modifier, which I disagree with this. I don't think there's too many modifiers. Each boss has 3 modifiers. You have an easy one, a middle one, and a hard one. Some are difficult, some are easy. But too many modifiers? I don't know about that. Maybe. For people who don't use 2% of their brain, it might be too many, but I don't know. Anyways. In general, a feature that is complex to maintain as it is. So basically, Ankama is saying they can't maintain dreams. Because their coding sucks. Seems like a damn problem. Lack of competitiveness, especially due to leaderboards, which are unrepresented. How? Someone tell me, how is it not competitive? There is literally a leaderboard. Where's the dreams one? Did they? No, they didn't. There is literally a leaderboard where people go and check how high they are in the dreams. I'm 12th place from the entire game right now. So I don't know about competitiveness, but it's the same with PvP. If you go to a PvP Colosseum leaderboard, like how is this competitive? It's the same thing. This is just Ankama stating bullshit arguments to make it so they have a reason to revamp dreams. It's just full BS. Dependence on achievements and quests completed in the game, which unlocks some. So yeah, so this part is an interesting one because they are gonna change that. So basically, right now you need to have done a boss in order to do it in dreams. Right now, so for example, room 1 is Buccaneer and Anaris. If I never did Anaris, I could not do this room. It's blocked. It's locked me out. I can't do it. But why is it bad? Why is it bad? Because think of this, right? Let's say you're a newbie player. You reach to level 200. And then you're like, let's do Infinite Dreams. But you haven't done a single endgame dungeon in the game. Then how the hell do you expect to do it in dreams? Right? You need to actually have done the dungeon. Get experience with the dungeon in order for you to do it in dreams. So I don't think this is a bad thing. This actually is a good thing because it encourages people to do achievements in the game. There are so many people running around on level 200 with 3,000 achievement points because they get leached to 200 and they don't do shit in the game. And then they expect to do dreams. I'm sorry, this is a BS argument as well. Scaling and lack of evolution in gameplay, which can quickly make a... Okay, I do agree with the scaling one. The scaling is kind of like meh. Basically, the only thing that scales from low dreams and high dreams is monsters get more HP and they do more damage. Mechanics don't change. All the mechanics will remain the same. And the scaling is a bit too over the top. Like at the floor I am right now, floor 2, 1040, I don't know, 1480. Enemies, they have like 13, 15 MP. Basically, you're only playing CC comp because monsters are in your face all the time. So I do agree with the scaling, which is bad. But then again, they don't seem to be bothered with that. Training mode. I never understood why they even added it. There's no point in doing dreams under level 200 in my opinion. Runs are too long. Paradoxically, and lack of consequences should you fail. What? So first of all, let's just talk about the runs are too long. You can do a run from 200 to 400. Depending on how much time you invest in a game. In a couple days to a month. If you're doing it in over a month, then you're just not good in the game. But my fastest run... Oops, what else? My fastest run ever was within a 24-hour stream. If you discount 24-hour streams and like that, I think my fastest run was in like a week or a week and a half. On average, I do like 3 weeks in a run, right? But then let's talk about High Dreams. High Dreams is too long. Like, it's infinite. It should be long. It should be like a long-term goal. You want to reach a high floor. The higher you go, that's the challenge. It's supposed to be long, so I don't get the point here. It's just lack of consequences should you fail. It's not about fail. Like, they talk about dying in a room. There shouldn't be consequences you dying in a room. You lose points. That's a consequence. But there shouldn't be more consequences, in my opinion. Because imagine you being this high floor, you die and you have to redo it. Like, you're working for a year on something and then you die. This feels like they are trying to implement shadow mechanics into the normal game, and I don't think that's a good idea. Highly complex, yet too... The only reason it's complex is because people don't do normal PVM before they do dreams. People think, oh, let's jump into dreams without any knowledge of the game, which is gonna make it complex. But it's not complex if you understand the boss mechanics. Anyways, let's go over the rest. Pushing a roguelike aspect to the limit. So roguelike. I've seen people talk about that. A roguelike is a type of video game based on exploring procedurally generated dungeons with the character dying permanently. I don't like this, chat. It is often defined by a high replay value, increasing difficulty and power recovery. This means the player is required to repeat several... So this is basically... I don't know, chat. I don't know if I like the dying permanently part. If I like that, I would play Shadow. Anyways, what they are going to change is they're gonna remove the infinite part. Dreams is no longer gonna be infinite. There's gonna be a limited amount of floors and then it's done. You're done. You can do dreams in a day and be done with it. So basically they are removing endgame PVM content. Alright? So, we're planning to modify this component in dreams so that the infinite aspect now focuses on replayability. So in other words, to produce many different runs rather than a single very long run. This will make it possible to focus on difficulty and the quality of the experience on a set number of floors, with the final special fight to be close to the run-in style. So there's a whole part right now, basically after floor 400, that's only rewarding you ornaments. They're gonna delete that from the game. Alright, the key to dreams. In order to fully assume its role as an endgame feature and simplify balancing feature, we are going to remove training modes, which enables access dreams before 200. So no more dreams before 200. You actually have to be level 200. They're gonna change quests that require dreams. So for example, Ebony quest line and all that kind of stuff, they're gonna change that. Philbis as well. We got 14 people in the chat. Better buy your Philbises now because better sell your Philbises right now, I should say, because the prices are gonna plummet after this change. We also want to remove challenges? Really? I didn't even read that before. They want to remove challenges with the presence of modifiers and the various synergies between monsters and the passives already represent sufficient amount of information and challenges in itself. Experience and loot gains should be adjusted to reflect. So no more. Wait, no more. Oh my god. As for modifiers, we are deleting the Dream, Nightmare, and Paradox modifiers. There are too many of these modifiers for you and us alike. They aren't always relevant. Well, that's an opinion. That's not a fact. That's an opinion. As with the rest, this means we'd rather reduce the quantity of these modifiers while improving their quality. Imagine, like some bosses, they have like 1 out of the 3 modifiers is like insanely difficult. For example, the Gurla one, there's one where every time you hit an enemy, there's like 50% reflect damage. And when the enemies get below 50%, there's 100% reflect damage. So you basically have to one-shot them using barrels. Imagine if they'd be like, yeah, let's pick this modifier and I think it's gonna be good. People are gonna... Dreams might actually become harder after this update. Let's talk about access to all Dungeon Keeper with not prerequisites. It will no longer be necessary to have fought the Keepers in the material... This was an obstacle. I don't see it as an obstacle, but whatever. It's always it was always impossible to enjoy. Yeah. Why? They think they having reached level 200 and finish a large part of the game will be an advantage, but it shouldn't be a prerequisite. So basically, you can do dreams when you get leads to level 200. Like I don't see that should be the case, but whatever. All right. Now this is the interesting part. This is going to be the part where they talk about the changes that they do. We are changing the structure of rooms and floors to break up the repetitiveness of dreams and add real strategic choices to them. In the current version, fights can sometimes be similar with the choices that lack strategic impact. And most of all, there are too many fights before reaching the final bracket. So we want to work with these aspects in different ways. The thing is, right now, yes, I agree. There are too many fights you need to do before you reach the purple zone, which there you need to do 125 fights. But let's be honest, you can do 125 fights pretty quickly, especially because the first 70 are very easy. The thing is, you also, for every fight you do, you get chest rewards. And I do agree, the gray and the yellow ones, they don't offer any worthy resources or whatever, but the blue ones do. But you can do floor 200 to 270 in a day or two, and then you get to the blue chest, and every chest has a drop, right? If they're going to reduce the amount of rooms, which is gonna be the next point, we are reducing the number of floors you have to go through from 200 to 30. So instead of 200 chests, you're only gonna get 30 chests. So you're gonna get less chests. So you do less fights, you get less chests, right? So that would mean, what would that mean? Are they going to increase the drop rates? Because if the drop rates are going to stay the same, which is like 0.15% for a Jahash, for example, if they're going to keep the drop rates like that, you need to do hundreds of runs to be able to get a legend, which I don't think that should be the case. Burrado is pretty good. Yeah, big orange. Yeah. But people usually rush that, so they don't get a lot of those. People like still gambling, yeah. I truly wonder what they're gonna do with the drop rates if there's only 30 chests that you get. This will enable us to balance monsters better, keep the same group throughout the dream, and enhance replayability. This number of floors is... Okay, so they might increase it. I hope they do. The concept of brackets is being retained. So with the brackets, they mean the different stages. So right now we have gray, yellow, blue, purple. But the arena will be divided into 5 brackets. So instead of 4, they're going with 5. The first bracket will have 3 floors. The second bracket will have 5. The third will have 8. The fourth will have 10. And the last one will have 4. Brackets will have an impact on the power of monsters. See part 5, okay? Removing the hub to access the variance roof. So they're gonna remove this part here. This. So right now, I can choose between one of the 5 rooms. If I want, I can try room 2. And if room 2 is too difficult, I can go to room 3. I can do one of the 3 rooms. Sometimes you have a floor that's only 2 rooms. You can have a floor with 3, 4, or 5. Never 1 or 6. So they're going to remove that. From now on, the following rooms can be accessed directly from the combat room to make it easy to move around. This change will have one major consequence. Once you've entered a room, you can no longer go back. It is now a real decision for you to make. So I do wonder though. Can you still choose between rooms or not? We are changing the room format, offering different types of rooms. The combat rooms as you know them without any or with 1 or more dungeon keepers in several months. So this is what we currently have. So you can have a room with a combat, a bazaar, which is now a type of room and thus no longer be available on each floor. So you can have like a room where it's only like buff and rewards, I think. A new special room that will grant you a random bonus for free among the other ones that the bazaar has to offer. Okay. We are providing a view of the current level and the type of rooms you can find. This will enable strategies to be established about which way to go to this. Okay, so the way I read this is you can still choose between rooms. There might be less choices though. There's a real sense of path. Choosing one over the other one is a choice that sometimes has. You can avoid junctions or other looking. The first 3 floors of a run are always the same. However, a run will always start with 3 fights. The group receives a slight bonus upon getting an next floor. So, okay, wait, what? The bonus random will also be indicated on the map beforehand. So basically, instead of having to rely on random buffs, you get a guaranteed buff. So what I see, okay, this is actually a good change though. In line with this, the desire to speed up and streamline processing. You no longer have to use consumables between rooms to... Wait, what? You no longer have to use consumables between rooms. Okay, this is actually good. This is a good change. I like this. Right, so I don't know. It's a bit too small to see maybe, but basically it's like you can choose between 2 floors, 2 fights. You either go this one and you get a vitality buff. Or you go to this one that gives an MP buff. You can fight or do a normal fight or an arch monster like a boss fight. Then from this you can choose to go from this to that. But if you go to this, then you have to go to this. I wonder if you can see the entire tree beforehand, or if you can only look one room ahead. That would be interesting. I don't mind this, to be honest, chat. Don't get me wrong. I don't mind this, but there should be more rooms. They are removing the infinite part of Dreams. So Dreams is no longer going to be infinite. There's only going to be 30 rooms. 30. Instead of thousands, it's going to be 30. So you can do Dreams in a day and be done. So I don't like that. But let's go and continue to the rest of this devblog. Like any good rogue-like game, in order to increase the difficulty, the importance of choosing choices during the run, and the unique aspects of each new dream, we deem it necessary to make death final. So you lose a fight, Dreams comes to an end. I don't like this either, but let's just wait and see. It depends on how difficult the fights are. Because if the fights are as difficult as they are right now, so right now, for example, this room that I have here, it gives me a superior power buff. I've attempted this like 5 or 6 times. I need to figure out a way to beat this. But in order to figure out a way to beat this, I have to actually attempt it. So if it's gonna be as difficult, so basically Dreams has to become easier, because otherwise I don't see how this is gonna end too well. But let's just wait and see. Relatively easy initial floors. Difficulty and changes to stat gameplay and increase earlier than the current version. Okay, this increasing difficulty and rewards. They should make it so you have like 3 lives or something indeed. Because that way you still have a risk ratio of if you lose 3 times the run is over, but at least you don't die instantly. I think that's a good one. I like that, Shira. As seen above in the different rooms, we are aiming to diversify the opponents encountered. It is true that the 1 boss and 3 monsters format was too repetitive. How is it too repetitive? Like, monster level. The level no longer increases with the floor level, but with the bracket level. From now on, the number of monsters per room that will increase with each floor. So basically, monsters, they will stay the same. For example, the stats of the monster on the first and last floor of each bracket will be the same. However, in the last room, we'll have more monsters than the first. So they are increasing the amount of monsters in the fight, but they are not increasing the stats of the monsters. Selection of dungeon keepers. Some dungeon keepers are deemed too weak and others too difficult, so they are being removed. Like, what? So they're removing the easy and the difficult ones, okay? Other keepers who aren't very dangerous by nature could systematically appear with the modifier. Actually, when we look at the stats of the monsters selected in Dreams, it's very often the same keepers that are chosen over and over again. I think this is just a lack of skill and player base. This is just a change to allow players who use no brain to be able to do dreams. Like, look, I'm not gonna lie, I don't mind the fact that they are removing Eternal Conflict for the dreams, and Cat's Eye, and Queen of Thieves, and there are some other stuff like Servitude. I don't mind that. But there are some bosses that they are not too difficult if you know how to do them. So Shira just mentioned Cabal. Cabal is super easy if you have an Elio. So removing the aspect of, oh, this boss is too difficult, let's remove it from dreams. You are basically removing the entire aspect of endgame PVM content. You're just removing it. So when, like, is dreams now for beginners? So when you reach level 200, you go into dreams and the actual dungeon is more difficult than dreams? It doesn't make sense in my opinion. So they're removing wave-based fights. Again, I never really liked wave fights in dreams because they take so much time. But then again, it was just, I don't see the need to remove this. I don't see the need to remove that. Instead of removing hard bosses, they should be elite encounters and give better rewards. I agree with that. You can avoid the route. Yeah, that's what I think. There should be a way to avoid it. So let's say you've got a room. One is Eternal Conflict and the other one is Celestial Barbarian. The Eternal Conflict room should give more rewards because it's harder. But you can choose to go for the relative easier one. So they're gonna add archmonsters to dreams, chat. To add even more variety into unique monsters. Archmonsters are coming to dreams. They are so hyping this one up. So like kind of a mini boss, they will be rare at first and then increasingly present as you delve into the dreams. This will make it possible to offer an intermediate level of difficulty between rooms with just monsters and rooms with one or more keepers. Wow. Final boss. A new boss keeper is being introduced. An infinite dream keeper. They will mark the end of the dream run with one last memorable fight. This fight will provide a medium-term goal and will encourage you to optimize your run to reach them at your peak power. Yeah, sure. Right, Dreamers. On Player's End, we are making major changes that will enable all classes and spells to evolve correctly throughout the dream. Player's dream level. Oh, wait, what? You're gonna get dream level? Now correspondence on the current floor, which will enable all level-related spells to gain. I do fucking like this, bro. This is a good change. Summons. Summons, they're non-inherited character. So they're increasing the scaling of monsters, reduction spells, reductions applied to spell damage received like Feka's shields, pushback damage, and shields like Masquerader's Plastron, for example. They're gonna increase the scaling of that. So what currently is in Dreams? So right now, I'm in Dreams. I've got 26,000 HP, right? So a Mask Shield, what does a Mask Shield do? Like 1,000 shield? 1,000 shield is literally nothing when you have 26,000 HP, right? So nobody is using a mask in High Dreams because the scaling is just bad. And the same goes for Feka shields. Like Feka Rampart shield is not used in Dreams at all because it reduces the damage with like 100 or 150. But when enemies do 2,000 damage, it just doesn't do the thing. So I do like this change. But it would be better if they implemented it in current Dreams. But yeah. The Bazaar. The reason why the Bazaar, I don't know what the fuck you pronounce that, is becoming a full-fledged room and therefore no longer available on each floor. We want to turn it into shop where each item has a real impact on a dream and on a strategy you adopt on later floors. The entire Bazaar has therefore been overhauled accordingly. The Bazaar will offer 5 random items among a whole group of items. These items can still be bought with dream points. Dream points can still be acquired at the end of the fight with a number of... Okay, so you can still get dream points. That's good. The addition of a keeper, so dungeon, so a boss ad basically. Redis, Astral Storm, and positive modifiers have been removed. I don't like this. I always like changing the modifier, especially when you had offensive heals. That was just so much fun. The choice of the next room is now a real decision to make it. We no longer want players to be able to alter rooms and thus the difficulty set by the dream. Don't like it. Primary elemental characteristics have been removed. They have been replaced by damages and final heals. Interesting. Bonuses for other characters no longer have a fixed value and are based on a percentage. So okay, that is good because this means the scaling is going to be better. The aim of these changes is to get better evolution of player characteristics as they move through the floors. Other characters have been added such as I like this too. AP, MP, range and summons. That's good. That's really good. New items will be available. You will be able to buy Second Chance. This is a wild card that lets you suffer one defeat without entering. Okay, this is what we talked about earlier, Shira. Basically, buying a life. So I do like that they're adding this. It will be a one-time purchase. I do still think you want to have more lives, but at least one is better than nothing. New passive powers, effective temporarily throughout the dream, will let you drastically modify your team's gameplay. I'm gonna be interested in how this turns out. Any items obtained will be shown in the current dream interface, which will be completely redesigned for the occasion. For example, it will be able to show information such as the number of fights remaining before a bonus ends on all of your passive spells. Any characteristics bought will be reallocated at the start of each fight, enabling you to exceed some natural limits such as the AP, MP or range. Now hold your beer. Rewards, chess. So currently we have 3 levels of chess. So you got the small ones, the medium ones, and the big ones. And you got 4 brackets, gray, blue, gray, yellow, blue, purple. So that means 12 type of chess. They're gonna change that as well, which I don't mind, but yeah. They don't like the current way. Legendary items are divided up between brackets in a fixed way, making acquiring them very unbalanced. I disagree with that. I think they should be difficult to obtain. Imagine you can just do one dreams floor and you drop a Josh. Should not be the case in my opinion. The fact that chess depends on the difficulty of the room adds a random variable to the potential of acquiring a raw Prismarita legend. I think this is a good thing the way it is right now, because it forces people to do difficult rooms in order to benefit more prizes. There are too many chests. I don't know. It's an opinion. We are retaining the principle of chests that can be acquired at the end of each room, but we are drastically simplifying how they work. Each bracket now has a single chest giving you. So every room that you get, just a chest. So no more 3 different levels. Just one chest. Dream reflections you will get dream reflections every time, but the quantity is changing depending on the chest level. You get astral runes, but it depends on the chest. So I do think, so the way they phrase it, it sounds like you're gonna get all of them. But animal legend at a very low rate varies per chest. Includes animal legend, yep. A legend chest. Raw Prismaridites have been removed from chests, can now be acquired at fireable rates at the end of each fight. Total number of chests is going to change from 12 to 7 with 5 chests corresponding to each bracket. And you got 2 legendary chests. You basically drop a legendary chest from the chest and that will drop a legend item. They did say something about being able to get points, no? Oh yeah, here. The legendary chest, you also get a token. And the token can be traded for legends of your choice as well. Alright. Next up. Rankings and ornaments. The ranking system will disappear. Don't like that, but whatever. It might come back in a different way, they did mention. This new way of working means that the infinite reflections will become absolute. So the infinite reflections are these purple resources over here that you currently use to buy the ornaments. For a limited time, it will be possible to collect dreamer ornaments. Yeah, so the dreamer ornaments, they will stay. Once you have them, you will keep them, but they will become exclusive. Yeah, so the dream leaderboards gone. Collected ornaments will remain. It is not an easy decision to make, but we believe that this is the least worth compromise for the best players in the current dreams, that they can retain the prestige of these rewards, which represent their performance in the old version. Yeah. All resources, Kama's experience, generators, okay. We may add other rewards, such as new related ceremonial items, supplementing the Dream Shields or by... wait, what? So are they going to delete the Dream Shields? Oh, supplementing. So they... I don't know. Legend and Prismaridites. Adjusting to the legendary item Prismaridites. How legendary pet powers acquired on all plants. But we add new legends. So they might add some new stuff later on. Alright, Parallel Dreams. First of all, we are reworking the main game mode of Dreams. However, we would eventually like to diversify the feature through a seed system. It may be possible for us to offer other game modes. For example, we could imagine, so it's not confirmed, but they could imagine an identical run for players with a competitive mode and special rules. That way players could be playing under the same conditions. So basically you have a code you give to someone and they will be doing the same run as you. So you could do like battles and challenges and that kind of stuff, which is cool. For the moment, it's difficult to give you a precise time frame, but please bear in mind that we're hoping 2026. That's too long. We need content. As for quests such as Ebony and Velvis, there will be an alternative version of Dreams. It will be accessible through an NPC with manually generated content. This will enable us to control the experience and the course of these quests. In this alternative version, you won't be able to earn the rewards as Dreams, so no chests gained, nor the rank. However, it should make quests easier. To complete by reducing random aspects. They will get more into depth with that later. So, quick summary to conclude this revamp of Dreams. It's going to be out in September 2025. It aims to transform this feature into a real endgame challenge, free of its old flaws, unless they add more bugs. We try to simplify and improve the gaming experience by reducing the number of floors, making runs shorter, and removing the infinite aspect in favor of replayability and dynamism. All rooms, monsters, bonuses, and modifiers will be redesigned to offer more fun, strategic experience, as well as riskier but better rewarded runs. We hope this new system will lead to stimulating a competition while improving its accessibility. Feedback. Let us 8-man runs place. Right, this is what I wrote right now. Some good changes, however, I don't like the removal of the infinite part. The fact that Dreams was infinite allowed endgame players who completed 100% of the game to have a real challenge. I started my run in 2023 and I am now at floor 1480. I don't see this as a negative, but as a real long-term goal. Making Dreams into 30 rooms, you are basically removing this long-term goal aspect of Dreams. Basically, people can complete a run in a day or two. If that's the case, then what does Dreams have to offer for endgame players when people have 100% achievements in the game and can finish a Dreams run in 2 days? What else is there for them? This is the way I see it. I have completed the game, got 100% achievements. I'm gonna be doing Dreams, a run of like 30 fights. I can do that in a day or two, right? I can do that in a day or two, and then what else has the game for me to offer? Right now, I can do high Dreams, I can play every day, I do a couple rooms, and my goal is to reach for 2000 by September, right? Let's just assume there was no revamp. Then after 2000, I can continue even higher. I can go to 3000, 4000, and so on, right? So there's a long-term goal. They're removing that. What else is there for me in the game? When they change this, I can do a run in a day. And then what? I finish the game. I'm gonna play Fortnite. Like, I can already see I might actually quit the game at the end of the year. Because What else is there for me to do? What else is there for me to do? Chat, just tell me. I'm not gonna PvP. When as a player who has completed the entire game, right? I need something that keeps me playing the game. And that is Infinite Dreams, because it's infinite, right? But if they're going to limit it to 30 rooms and then it's done, then what is there in the game for me? And for other players that have completed the game. Like, I know I'm talking about like 0.0% of the player base when I'm talking about myself. Because I know 99.9% of the player base, they don't even have max achievements. Right? But I don't know. Yeah. I see the new Dreams revamp. So there are 30 rooms, right? I compare that to how it currently is with running 200 to 400. The only reason I would start a new run and go from 200 to 400 is to drop the chests, to drop the legends, to make Kamas. It's not a challenge. Reaching floor 400 is not a challenge at all. It's hell of easy. I can do it in I did 24-hour stream. Already did that. I did a 36-hour stream where I did like 2 runs even. It is not a challenge. You do that to make Kamas. But I don't need to make Kamas. So why would I play the new Dream system? So that's my 2 cents, chat. Just to end this up, I am missing one thing. Achievements. There should be achievements for Dreams. There should be, if you go into the game, there should be a section over here. Infinite Dreams. Well, it's not going to be infinite anymore, but it should be Dreams. And they could add stuff like reach floor 1, reach floor 2, reach floor 3, 5, up until 30, right? And then it's going to be complete a run. And then maybe make achievements like complete 5 runs, complete 10 runs, complete 100 runs. This way, it actually forces people or encourages people, right, to do more than a run. Because right now, my argument was like, you do a run and then what? What's the point of doing multiple runs if you don't need the Kamas from the drops, right? But if there's achievements that say like you need to do 100 runs, then that could actually be good. Like I said, the changes aren't that bad. Like the general idea of the roguelike system, the way they change buffs, the way they change the chests are obtained, I think it could be good. Like adding archmonsters as mini boss, I don't mind that. I think it's a good change. It's actually refreshing. Maybe add some new rewards. The point where the point where I'm leaving the chat is the fact that it's not infinite anymore. And well, actually, you know what? Let's just go a little bit further. I don't even mind the fact that it's not infinite anymore. Just 30 rooms is just not enough. If it's like 100, for example, that could be something. But a 30 just seems too little. 30 seems too little.